Eugenie, Empress of the French. Written by George P. Upton, translated from the German of Eric Home, narrated by Bolchoz.
Preface. In a recent interview at her villa in the Riviera, the ex-Empress Eugenie, or Eugenia, is reported to have said, "I have lived, I have been. I do not ask more. I ask not to be remembered. Between my past and my present, there exists not a half a century. Not half a century, but 10 centuries. Men have changed, times have changed. It is a dream that is dissipated." It is a fascinating story, as told in these pages, the career of this granddaughter of a Scotch wine merchant, who by the power of her personal charm, the incentive of her ambition, and the boldness of her resolution, achieved her purpose, though stigmatized an upstart and adventurous, and eventually driven from the throne and doomed to spend her remaining days brooding over the loss of her power and her beauty, over France's crushing defeat in what the short-sighted empress lightly termed "my war," over her folly in urging Napoleon into the war, sorrowing over his death, and chiefly lamenting the death of her son at the hands of the Zulu savages in that faraway land whither she had urged him to go. Here is an adventurous, a romantic, in every way an extraordinary life story. It shows what one of determined will and fixed purpose may do. But was it worth the doing? In these days, looking back over her career, all she can say is, "I am the past. I am the distant horizon where exists a mirage, a shadow, a phantom, a living sorrow. I am an old woman, poor in everything that makes a woman rich. My husband, my son, that brave boy, they are gone. My eyes no longer turn to the future. I live only in my youth. There is nothing for me but to wait. My dreary winter is nearly over." Poor Eugenie! That she still clings to the hope of seeing a descendant of Napoleon on the throne of France is evidenced by a letter to an old soldier who recently appealed to her for help, in which she says, "As Her Majesty admits that every old soldier of the empire has remained faithful to the sacred cause, to the imperial eagles, it is necessary so that Her Majesty may be assured of a devotion of which she, or rather the legitimate heir to the throne, will perhaps have need sooner than one thinks, that she receives from you in a letter in which she will find the expression of your unshakable devotion to the memory of Napoleon III and to the imperial cause, as well as the expression of your mistrust of the present regime. GPU, Chicago, July 1910. Chapter 1. The Youth of Eugenie. In the beginning of the last century, there dwelt in the city of Malaga in Spain a merchant named Kirkpatrick. Although descended from a Scotch family of distinction that had been forced by the fall of the Stuarts to flee their native land, this later scion of the race earned his livelihood by the sales of wines which he dispensed with his own hand in a room at the rear of his shop. The business prospered, and he became a rich man, exporting large quantities of Spanish wines to foreign countries. Yet he still kept his wine room in Malaga, assisted by his 4 daughters, who did much to attract custom. The lofty family traditions of the Kirkpatricks of Closeburn could scarcely have been expected to be remembered amid the practical duties of the merchant's busy life. But his beautiful daughters were by no means unaware of their high descent, nor without hope of elevating themselves once more to the rank of their ancestors. Of the 4 sisters, Manuela, the third, was the most aspiring as well as the most beautiful, even when busy serving wine and chatting gaily with the gentlemen who frequented her father's wine room.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?